All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. But we're going to have a show.
Good morning, everybody. It is a big end to the year. We're going to do it big. All of our regular contributors are here, and we're looking forward to checking in with them. We've got a big Florida kind of look back at the last year. I want to say good morning to everyone. We've got breaking news this morning, by the way. Yes, and good morning. Hi, Kim. How are you, Kim? How are you?
Kim, how are you?
Yes.
Kim, how are you?
Yes, I would love to be able to read the lips of Kim right now.
I say happy last Mark Thompson show of 2022.
Yeah, girl, it is.
Kim, how are you?
And Tony's here.
Thanks, Tony.
Tony is feeling worse today than he was yesterday. He's fighting some bug.
I'm right.
It's not COVID.
No, it's not. It's just stupid super cold or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Damn it.
well.
I had plans for New Year's Eve, man.
Yeah, come on. Let a player play.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's back today. Kid Fabulous. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Albert, everybody.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah, Albert, how are you this morning, my friend?
Feeling good. Happy New Year.
Morning.
Yeah. It is the new year coming. And morning to everybody in the chat. You can chat at us.
Morning.
Yeah, you can get right into the chat. Just text whatever you're thinking,
Why don't you
whatever
just
you're
text
feeling.
it?
And you can chat with us live if you're watching the show live. We're here live every day, Monday through Friday, 10 to noon, just like the show when it was on radio. This is, in a way, a kind of radio show that's transitioned into this YouTube platform. So a lot of the things that we do are kind of like looking in on a radio show. But slowly the show is evolving, so you'll see visual elements. And we can do some things here visually that we couldn't obviously do on the radio. But it's really cool to have you all here. Now, as I mentioned, we have Friday Fabulous Florida and a look back at the last year in Florida. It's pretty special. So we'll do that right after Kim's News at 10:35. Then at 11, Jim Avila joins us along with Michael Shore. We'll look back a bit at politics of the year. The J6 committee, they promised to release a lot of transcripts from the J6 committee. You understand what will happen, right, in the House committee. If they don't release this stuff soon, I mean in days, then it will be locked away forever because the new Congress will get rid of it. It'll be as you just will not see it as the public. So the revelations that are coming out of the J6 committee, it's weird, as Jim Avila was pointing out last week, they're coming out over the holidays, so they're kind of like getting tucked away and lost in the holiday wash. But that said, they will come out, and there are some revelations already here in these last few days. We'll visit them with Jim and with Michael Shore.
And that's separate from the taxes, right?
Right, and then that was the other thing. The taxes of Donald Trump have been released. Curiosity on the part of the public. Essentially, I'd suggest, buttress a lot of stuff you already knew. You know that he essentially doesn't pay taxes. He declares huge losses. He claims himself to be something of a philanthropist, and of course, he doesn't donate to charity virtually at all. So you see the fraud of Donald Trump. That may not be a surprise to you, but nonetheless, the X's and O's of it laid out like that, I think, make the point quite starkly. And we'll get into that as well. There is breaking news, and it's in the Idaho murder case. And I've brought our murder reporter in. Kim, I hope you don't mind. Normally, this would be your exclusive area of news.
You guys
but
keep
I do.
scooping me.
Major announcement from the Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah.
A major announcement.
This is a major announcement in a sense. Yeah. Please welcome Courtney, everybody, who is our murder.
Hi.
You are our correspondent. Normally, you're here only on Mondays, but
Yes.
you've made a special, which is Mark's Murder Mystery Monday. But you made a special trip here because of this breaking news, and I wonder if you could share it with us now.
I have. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Morning.
Yeah.
This is very much why I listen to true crime, because of moments like this where you're just emotionally connected to a story because you feel so strongly for the victims and their families, and then you wake up to news that a suspect has been arrested in that murder, in that event. And so this last night at 3 a.m. This morning at 3 a.m. A suspect was arrested in the murders of 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho. So just to refresh anybody's memory, several weeks ago, I think it was at the beginning of November, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were all stabbed to death in their home in Moscow, Idaho. And the police, the Moscow police, the police in Idaho, the sheriff's department, and also the FBI have had, 150 people on the case for several months looking for suspects. And there have been things that have been leaked to the press or have come out in the press, but for the most part, they have been very much focused on keeping most of the information within the people that were, looking into this case, almost to the detriment of the families. But this morning it was announced that they arrested a suspect. And that suspect is Brian Kohberger. Now, he was a PhD student at Washington State University.
Wow.
Which is about 15 miles from where the students lived, the 4 students lived. And he's actually has a master's in criminal justice.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So he actually, in a way, had insights into how to defeat the cops and the investigation, if you will.
Exactly. And he was doing a research project around, I think it was like the emotional and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. This is something that he was doing recently. And it's crazy to think that he has a degree in criminal justice.
Wow.
But yes, he was arrested this morning. A SWAT team found him in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. And they towed the white Elantra that we have been talking about from his driveway. So there is a press conference at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern today. So for anybody that is looking to find out more information, you would be able to do that at that time.
Wow, this is
I wonder,
extraordinary.
do we know if he had any connection to any of these people? Or was he that guy that they said was the stalker?
Yeah, do we know? What do we
That's
know
a
about him?
good
Not a
question.
whole lot right now because they've just made the arrest.
We don't know a lot. And we don't know a lot. What we do know is that one of the victims, Kaylee Goncalves, was overkilled, as they say. So,
right, so there was
more
passion
gruesome,
almost.
injuries to Kaylee. So
Reflecting
in that
anger or
way,
something.
you would think that she was more the target than some of the other people who were killed. And remember, he went in through the second floor, and I think it was a sliding glass door. So it might have been that Ethan and Xana just happened to be in the room that he entered the house in, and he unfortunately killed those poor 2 innocent victims and then went upstairs. In more recent news, we knew that Maddie and Kaylee were sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah.
And they were sleeping in Maddie's bed. And again, Kaylee was the one that was suffered greater wounds. So,
well, this is, it is true that we need to know a motive. Michelle was saying that in the chat.
Exactly.
And there's a lot we need to know. But what you provided, the details about this guy so far, they're bizarre. I mean, this guy's a PhD student and he ruins his life this way by murdering people. I mean, it's absolutely...
Yeah, he's a PhD.
It's incomprehensible.
He has a master's degree from criminal justice from DeSales University, but he was at Washington State University in the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology. And again, that was 15 miles from where the students were murdered. Yeah. So...
And Jules says, I wonder if these were his first victims, meaning maybe this guy's killed before. We'll know a lot. I think the cops will know a lot. But I can't wait to hear, and you'll report this on Monday, how this investigation proceeded, how they found him, what the motive was. Those are all things that you'll report on Monday, right?
I will.
Okay.
So I will. Be
Courtney,
there.
thank you very much for the breaking news. And I think it was worth
There's been a major announcement.
I think it did qualify for major announcement status.
I think so too. She told that story so well from the beginning. And I think when, even when you're not on the scene reporting and talking to people, you still kind of have this emotional connection to it. Yeah. So it's nice that she was able to follow up and finish it through.
Yeah, I gave her the thumbs up. I think she did a nice job.
Yeah.
Pulled it together quickly. And Kim, you were very gracious to not demand that because it was a news story. I mean, that you do it. You felt that, as you say, she had followed it. She had explained it to us, and so with this breaking news, that it should be hers. So very, very well done. Smash the like button like a boss for Courtney.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
Yeah, do it. Hit that like button if you're watching in replay. We love having you and want you to hit the like button. Much to do that has nothing to do with murder today. It's wet. In California, I'll just mention, we're getting these blasts of storms, the waves of wet, snow in the higher elevations, rain at sea level. What's the story, Kim? We're going to get all this atmospheric river stuff through the weekend into next week, off and on?
Yeah, we're going to get pummeled. It looks like it'll clear up in time for New Year's Eve. And then we get a break, possibly New Year's Day, before the next one rolls in.
The New Year's Eve thing and New Year's Day, I don't know if people celebrate in a big way, like if you go for the big party, or if you just like a quiet, by now, maybe you're partied out. When you're in your 20s or whatever, then it's sort of like you just get swept along with the party scene. But as you get older, you kind of go for a more a civil, restrained sort of party, I think. Yes.
Agree. What they're saying about this, though, is that...
what is that, Tony? I couldn't hear you.
No, I don't. I just want to try to have fun.
You can't take the kid out of Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
No, I'm a child. It's true.
Yeah, all right. Tony's a gamer. I wonder if you're going to, you and all your gaming buddies get together and have a big New Year's game off.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, just a thought. Maybe for next year. It might be a little short notice. You're not feeling 100%. Maybe not for this year.
Yeah, this year.
I do just want to mention Steve Moskowitz is our sponsor. He is the guy who's been doing taxes for Bay Area residents around California and around the nation. They're at Moskowitz LLP. He's been doing it for over 30 years. And it's not just an accountant. He's an attorney. He's able to represent you with the government should that be necessary. But he's also ready to find you money where you might not have thought money was. Yeah.
I'll take that money.
888-TAX-DEAL, 888-TAXDEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL, also MoskowitzLLP.com.
The Mark Thompson Show.
The final California inflation relief payments are coming. That's right. I know, everybody. You've been waiting. They're being sent by January 14th. So if you still haven't received your California inflation relief payment, it could be on its way in the new year. All direct deposit payments from the middle class tax refund program have already been issued. According to the California Tax Board, the remaining payouts are going to be sent as debit cards. They'll be mailed out by January 14th. So you know how that works. I mean, essentially, if you're wondering whether you're eligible, eligible residents are those who got state-issued pandemic stimulus payments through direct deposit, but you might have changed your banking information after filing your 2020 taxes, according to the Franchise Tax Board. That's why you'll get these debit cards. The state's issued more than 7 million direct deposits, more than 8 million debit cards. That's just, if you're doing the math, $8.4 billion.
What?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. The payments are $200 to just over $1,000. Yeah. The if you make $500,000 or less, you're eligible for it, I believe. Isn't that right, Kim? I'm pretty sure that's right.
Is it $500,000? I thought it was less than that.
Well, here we go. Let me just look. There's several important qualifications to keep in mind. Here we go. Californians must have filed a 2020 tax return by October 15th, 2021. Okay, so October of last year. Meet California's adjusted gross income limits, here it is, of $500,000 or less.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. See, I was thinking it was 250.
No, it's $500,000, kid. A lot of us are going to fall into that category, especially now that we're demonetized.
Less than 500,000.
Yeah, we are really way less. Yeah,
we're all in good company.
Yeah, if you have not been claimed as a dependent in the 2020 tax year, you're eligible. Okay, but if you're living with your folks or you're a dependent in another way, then you're not eligible for this money.
I'm a Mark Thompson dependent.
You are. I mean, you're very much. You may get through still.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the money should arrive by January 14th. They've already started sending them out December 17th. So we're in the window where these debit cards will arrive. I hope you get yours if you were waiting for it. But that's the latest on it. And there are, as I've said, any number of revelations coming from the J6 committee and also coming from testimony, you understand, that is now just being released, transcripts of testimony from those who were in the Trump White House. And it relates to everything from COVID to what was actually going on January 6th. It's pretty revelatory. I mean, I'll give you one little thing. Revelatory would be a ding word, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
For example, one of the aspects that has nothing to do with January 6th is related to COVID. And the word came out, this is from an advisor to the inner circle, Jared Kushner and Trump himself, Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows being the gatekeeper. Mark Meadows is the chief of staff, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that came out is that they were trying to keep Trump from making statements like, why do you put the light inside the body? They were trying to keep him from making,
Supposing you brought the light inside the body,
right.
Which you can do either through the skin or in some other way.
Yeah.
And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute.
Right.
1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that?
Yeah.
By injection inside or almost a cleaning, because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that.
They knew that Trump had only caught a little bit of the press conference at which they mentioned how sunlight kills the virus. They knew that if he got on mic, it would be maybe embarrassing along the lines of what we just heard. But they were not allowed to make that point to Trump because Meadows pushed them away. And so you saw what happened. You saw him make this absurd statement, and you actually saw people inject themselves with bleach as a result of, I think you can point back to it. But I thought the interesting thing about this is that there were people there who were trying to, if you will, protect him from himself, but they weren't allowed to get to him. So the press conference went down the way it did.
Wasn't that really the way of his whole presidency, though? Let's try to get this guy not to say stupid stuff on Twitter, say stupid stuff, covfefe, every time he turns around. He's making an ass out of himself. Can we just get him to stop using social media? Something?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think Kim's right, and really points up a couple of things, one of which is the manifest incompetence, right, of the last president. I mean, just no clue and no need to know anything. He felt he did know everything, and he essentially was working the presidency for himself, for photo ops, to build his brand, and then he would weigh in all of these different ways on various things. Now, let me just say this. Through that administration, it's not that literally everything that administration did was awful. I mean, I can go through, but it is something of a treasure hunt to find things that are not. But the awful was so awful that it eclipses, I think, anything good. I mean, I'm thinking the Prison Reform Act, that kind of thing, you know. But you see what Kim is talking about, which is, you know, everybody's trying to cover the president's butt.
Yeah.
And they're trying to limit access to him. And then you lose those who want to protect the president. And then everybody comes in unfiltered. And you have the Alex Joneses, the Diamonds and Silks of the world. It was really just a rogues gallery of mad people moving through that White House. Anyway, we're going to get to politics more in the next hour. But I did want to mention that those key documents related to the January 6th investigation, which have revelations along those lines. Now, that was just how. What I didn't mention is in that COVID world. Again, those remarks relate to COVID. It was not allowed. Jared Kushner blocked the Biden people during the transition from knowing anything about COVID and knowing anything about the way the government was handling it.
And that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
You know?
And if you look at Michael Lewis's book, which is The Fifth Risk, I think it's called, you see for yourself how the transition from Obama to Trump was completely bizarre. That Obama set up all of these things, huge presentations, literally to help facilitate the transition. And Trump's people were nowhere. There were literally offices empty. No one attended meetings. There was no transition at all.
That's different than the pranks they usually pull at the end, right? Where they took all the O keys for Obama or something right off the keyboards. So there's always some pranks, but there's never a complete and total, we're not going to transition. We're not going to help the next guy. We're not going to show you where everything is. You know, the whole place is just empty.
That's right. That's right. It's distinctly different from that. That's exactly right. What happened with the Trump transition from Obama was just, again, incompetence. They had no idea how to do it. They didn't think they were going to win. They really didn't. Hey, the press didn't think they were going to win. Trump was viewed as a joke candidate on some level, and that cost the Democrats and it cost the country dearly. And that's just a fact. So because they didn't expect it, they had nothing in place. And when, Trump talked about the fact, like, I know the best people and everything, he didn't know anybody. No. Chris Christie handled the transition for a while, but because of Chris Christie's history with Jared Kushner's family, Chris Christie, as state attorney general in New Jersey, he went after Jared Kushner's dad. No, he went after him for, of course, they went after Kushner's father for a bizarre, and it was an extortion scheme, as I remember. And it was videotaping of a sex act, and it was really quite, it's pretty salacious. Salacious would be a ding word.
Yeah.
But because of that, Kushner insisted that Chris Christie come nowhere near the transition, and he was dropped. Well, Chris Christie was the only. I loathe Chris Christie, but he was the only guy of modest competence that was involved in that. I mean, otherwise you had no one. So that's why there was no transition team. And Michael Lewis details all of that in The Fifth Risk. Anyway, we got off a little bit on that, but it's all related to.
That was interesting.
It's all related to the J6 revelations. So there's a comet set to pass. This is the comet. I believe that came by around Christmas. Remember we talked about it here?
The Christmas comet, yes.
Yeah. The comet, for the first time since the Neanderthals existed. Wow, I love that. 50,000 years ago was the last time this comet came by Earth. There's an image of the comet. Did I send it to you? Probably not, Tony. I didn't, did I?
Let me see what I can find.
Let me send this to you. This is crazy. Here you go, Tony. I'll send it to you now. No, I won't. Oh, do I? This is, all right. That's the best I can do. I sent you something. Anyway, a comet not seen since the Neanderthals walked the Earth will make a return trip. It's tough to keep track of the comets. That's the email going off to you.
Oh, okay. Sounded like a comet sound.
Yeah, it sounded like the comet going by.
Yeah.
There was a Christmas comet to which Kim, there you go. Thank you.
That's pretty. Until it hits your planet and wipes everyone out.
I'll remind you that the
Are you sure
asteroid,
that's the comet? It looks like a spirit ascending to heaven or something.
It is one or the other. Either it's a spirit ascending to heaven or it's a comet, everyone. You see what you want in that. You know what I mean? That's the
what?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is going to make a return trip, and that's the first detailed image. The comet orbits the sun every 50,000 years. It will make its closest approach to Earth February 1st, 2023. I just thought you guys needed something to look forward to. So that's it. On February 1st, you'll have it. There's another shot of it.
Are we in danger?
I think it's going to come within 4 miles.
That's
not true. Come on.
Guys,
you know
come
it's not that.
What kind of fool do you think I am?
It is, I don't have the exact numbers on it, but it is, I'll get the exact numbers for you.
Okay.
But it's not going to come, you're not going to feel it. It's not that close to it. Okay.
I'm not going to be the spirit ascending to heaven. No.
But it's kind of wild that, I mean, the last time it came to Earth was when the Neanderthals were walking. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
This comet is not the only cosmic display set for 2023, they say. It will kick off with the annual Quadrantid meteor shower. It'll end with the impressive Geminid meteor shower in December. So we have a lot of meteor showers in our future. The meteor shower technically began today. It'll reach its peak on the night of January 3rd and the morning of January 4th. It's an above average meteor shower. Usually you see 40 meteors pass an hour. You'll see even more if you can get away from city lights. So there's all of that. Kim's news is next. So we gave you a little politics. We gave you a break in the Idaho murder case. And I give you a little meteor stuff with the never before seen comet that's coming. Hasn't been seen since the Neanderthal. So that's a little taste of what's happening. Politics in the next hour. Michael Schneider will be here with new movie reviews and some thoughts about the year in movies as well. And as I say, a look back at the year in Florida next. So smash the like button like a boss. Hit that.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
Hit the like button and show us a little love. And it's great to have you here. This is our last show of the year, and we appreciate your support. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Today is the day former President Donald Trump's tax returns are now public. The House Ways and Means Committee releasing Trump's personal and business returns from 2015 through 2020 today. The anticipated release comes as the panel said the IRS failed to properly audit Trump's taxes for several years while he was in office. The records also show Trump paid zero income tax in 2020. Trump was the first presidential candidate in decades not to release his taxes, of his own volition anyway. In a video statement last week, Trump said the release was an outrageous abuse of power and it is nothing but another deranged political witch hunt. Okay. We've been talking about all of the canceled Southwest Airlines flights. It's getting better there, but apparently there is one Southwest traveler from the South Bay, East Bay rather, Mountain House area, who saw his luggage live on a TV report.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's my bag. Yeah. Jesse Swift supposed to head home to Mountain House from the San Jose airport after flying to Vegas Monday, but his bag was already checked when his flight got canceled. ABC 7 says there was no sign of the bag until he saw it live on ABC 7 News. That's right. It was in a pile of hundreds of other unclaimed bags, so he raced to the airport and he got his bag. Mission accomplished. So that's how you got to do.
There's never been anything like it.
For you.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
If you want to live longer, move west. According to new research from researchers at NiceRx, people who live in Hawaii, NiceRx.
The researchers at NiceRx?
What?
NiceRx. Yeah. Nice prescriptions for you. The people at NiceRx say people who live in Hawaii have the longest life expectancy in the United States. On average, Hawaiian residents can plan on having an 81st birthday party. Washington State, number 2 on the list, California 4th, Oregon 7th, Utah is 9th. All have life expectancies of about 79 years. There's a beautiful picture of Hawaii.
Wow.
If just looking at that picture, it lengthens your life, I think. Unfortunately, Aerosmith singer Steven Tyler is facing sexual assault charges.
Oh, no.
There's a woman that filed this lawsuit accusing the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer of sexual assault, sexual battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress when she was a teenager in the 70s. Rolling Stone reported the woman also claims her mother granted Tyler guardianship over her when she was 16 years old, and the relationship lasted for about 3 years. So
I think one of the interesting things about this story is that parents sign over guardianship in this case to these rock stars. You saw the same thing happen with Michael Jackson, where he was allowed to take these kids on the road with him. And the parents, in the case of Michael Jackson, and maybe on some level is the case with Aerosmith, want so much to be in the aura of the star that they surrender their child to the star. It's positively disgusting. But that, I think, was happening here. I mean, it allowed him to travel with this 16-year-old from city to city and be the legitimate guardian of this kid. And he said that he was going to, pay for her education and all this sort of thing, and make sure that she got educated and that her schooling essentially would continue. And of course, it didn't. None of those things happened.
No. So
pretty gross. Yeah.
The case is filed. The court case begins, and we'll see how it all pans out. Here's this Yahoo. I don't know if you've read this story or heard about these guys. They're social media influencers, really proponents of men's rights. I hadn't heard of them before, but apparently there's something. Now they're disgraced. This is disgraced social media influencer Andrew Tate, who is now in custody on sex trafficking allegations. Has happened yesterday, where authorities in Romania arrested Tate and his brother on kidnapping and rape charges. The brothers allegedly detained 2 young girls in April. This is an ongoing story that we will be following. Apparently, there are videos circulating on social media now showing Tate and his brother being led away from their luxury villa. The whole arrest happened after this series of bizarre events. So who knows? It might even hit Courtney's radar and become something she talks about.
Well, there you go, Albert. Tell how they busted this guy in a really interesting way.
Yeah, they actually found him because he uploaded a YouTube video, and in the YouTube video there was a pizza box. He was eating a pizza, and they located that he was in Romania from the pizza box.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's kind of weird. I mean, really, had he not, he wanted to own somebody on social media with and troll them. And had he not wanted to troll them and send out this video that Albert's talking about, he would be a free man today. A despicable free man, but a free man.
Here we go again with the Mega Millions jackpot. I can't stop, won't stop. Mega Millions. 21 consecutive drawings have come and gone without a winner in the Mega Millions. The estimated jackpot tonight stands at $640 million. It marks only the 6th time the Mega Millions big prize has climbed above the 600 million mark. The players around the nation will find out if they are holding the winning ticket when the numbers get drawn tonight. And I don't have a graphic of this, but did you know that Kanye West is reportedly missing?
No.
What? Yes. The rapper's former business manager says Kanye has been on the fly for weeks over a lawsuit being brought against him. Thomas St. John currently suing Kanye for nearly $5 million, but the suit can't move forward until the rapper is served the necessary legal documents. Ain't nobody can find him. So
wow, that's
apparently the case can't move forward.
A good way to keep the case from moving forward, isn't it?
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, the number is 888-TAX-DEAL. You can also check the internet, MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shadow Stevens. This is the Mark Thompson Show. Keep it to yourself.
What up, everybody? It's our big year-end show, and how about it? Put it together for Steve Moskowitz. Yeah. Love him.
Thanks so much.
Can't get enough of him. I'll tell you something, Steve, we so appreciate your support this year. In a year we look back at the way the old station went away in a heartbeat, and you within hours stepped in to, fill the gap and say, hey, if you guys really do get up and going, which we did within days, I will be your sponsor. And, your support we're grateful for. But who you are and what you do is, I think, the best part, which is you've helped people legitimately make a difference with taxes, with businesses across the Bay Area, across California, across the country. And so at the end of the year, as we look forward to the next year, and I was just mentioning that the checks are going out for anyone who's making less than $500,000. We're going to get these inflation relief checks. They come in the form of debit cards, I think. But that will be, it's tax return dependent, So this is where you really need your tax life in order so that you can be eligible for, again, this is money that's being sent out by the state.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is, here it is, it's the last business day of the year. And people, talk about New Year's resolutions. And I don't want to be too formal or too corny, but how about if we make 2023 the year that you finally do something about your taxes? Because most people, especially small businesses, just moan and cry forever. Their taxes are too high. Their taxes are too high. And you know what? They're right. And they point to the big companies and they say, well, look, they're making all this money and they're not paying taxes. What's the secret? I'll give you the secret. That's why I went to law school. The secret is not a secret. It's there for the taking. It's like if somebody is starving and they're walking through an orchard and they're looking on the ground for maybe some rotten apple that dropped there. And all they have to do is look up at the trees and there's all that wonderful fruit and you just take it. And that's what we have with tax incentives. There's so much to that. So how about in 2023, we make it this the year to stop whining and crying and complaining and do something about it. And it's not just taxes. We offer all kinds of services. And we've talked to you about helping you with your business with accounting and HR and all kinds of planning and pensions. There's so much we can do for the small business. And just pick up the phone, talk to us. And, I'm just a simple guy. And when you talk to us, I'll just say, look, I'd recommend this and this and this, and let's see what we can do for you. Make a difference in your life. Let us make a difference in your life.
And as we've spoken of before, Steve is that guy you can speak to just in an across-the-fence way. I mean, and no matter what your situation, and maybe you haven't paid your taxes, maybe you've let stuff slide, maybe you've gotten a bit out over your skis, as they say, when it comes to various deductions or things that you thought were deductions and perhaps were not. Those are all things Steve has seen a million times. Reach him at 888-TAX-DEAL, 888-TAX-DEAL. If you're planning a business in 2024, if you're planning in 2023, and hopefully it'll last into 2024, check with Steve. Steve can help you craft a business plan that can really see you into success in the new year. Yeah. I can't recommend them enough. 888-TAX-DEAL, 888-TAX-DEAL. Moskowitz LLP is how you reach him online. MoskowitzLLP.com. Moskowitz. Steve Moskowitz. Friend of the show, and your work is so terrific. Steve, thanks. Let's talk next hour.
Thanks, you. Mark. Thanks, Ken.
All right. Steve Moskowitz, everybody. Yeah. Right on, right on, right on.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I want to do something now because we have been demonetized on YouTube. Then we'll get to some Florida. We're demonetized because of a clerical error, and I am making some progress. Just yesterday, I made some progress with YouTube in my communications with YouTube, and I'm hoping that we get some movement. It's still
That's pretty
maybe
huge. You managed to make a dent in that?
Oh, it's crazy. And it may be another month, but at least I'm seeing the finish line. If a lot of what you do with YouTube is 2 steps forward and 1 step back, to be honest.
Yeah.
It depends who ends up with your case. You know what I mean? Who ends up with this situation? We have a clerical problem, and that's the reason our show's been demonetized. But we're in a free fall financially, and so we have to turn to you. And you have stepped up. And we want to acknowledge those of you, all of you, who stepped up on any level. $5, $10 through Patreon and also through PayPal. We've set up these accounts. We've set up these ways you can support us on an ongoing basis because we need your help, and you have stepped up. And I want to thank all of you. We post everybody's name at the end of this show. Some of you who have really donated some substantial numbers, we want to give you acknowledgements now. And Tony, is that what we're doing now, right? Am I right about this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony.
Okay. So I want to first acknowledge, I'm waiting for Tony. Tony handles this. Oh, this is great. This is the Red Jack in San Francisco. They have a martini. And if you order the martini, here it is. I just made a donation from the December martini drink special and contributions from our Red Jack clientele. Thank you for hanging in there, especially when things are so challenging financially. Wow, that is really that's from the Red Jack in San Francisco.
Big shout out.
We give him a big shout out. What's that, Tony?
That's Lori above the bar.
Lori above the bar, right.
Yep.
They live above the Red Jack. I mean, again, I think there's a sitcom there at minimum, but it's really cool.
It's a cute little bar.
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah. Oh, my God, yes. We'd love to do, maybe we could do something in that place, in the new year. In 2023, we could plan some listener event.
Live remote? Yeah.
Yeah, live remote. Or the after party. We do
record until we black out.
Yeah, that'd be good. Good
Albert,
show.
thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Now that we have
there
visuals,
goes the millennial.
It's a little difficult if it was just audio, but we have visuals now.
Yeah. Suzanne S., $100. Come on. Big shout out, Suzanne.
Big shout out.
Oh, that's
Suanne.
a big Dan Ashley shout. That's really good. Suanne.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suanne. Suanne. Is that the way she's? That's really cool.
That's pretty. Suanne.
I love it. I'll give you a.
Thank you so
I'll give you
much.
a British thank you so much, Suanne S. David K. What up, David K?
Thank you very much.
Will Smith, thank you so much. I'll give you a.
I'm not gonna cry.
Because it is 100. If you add that all together, I'm not great with math, but I think that's like $410. So thank you very much.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
These are numbers where I would cry normally, but
I'm not gonna cry.
I'm not going to because I think it just, at the end of the year, I don't want to go out crying. Carol F.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. I'll give you a big Dan Ashley shout out,
Big
too.
shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Deserving. Tomia G, $50.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a...
Thank you.
I'm going to give all of you the 50s and 100s. I'm going to give you all a thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to double back to the Red Jack and give you a thank you. Thank you.
A lot of questions about the
appreciate
Red
it.
Jack. Honestly.
What questions are there?
Folks want to know the ingredients to the Red Jack martini.
That's the marked. It's the martini.
Martini,
Please ask for it
yes.
by name. Yeah.
Apologies. Lori says, let's all get together at that bar for a big old Station X in exile.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I have
Brett
to.
would go to that function if we had it.
Brett would, and Brett and I have been in touch.
Albert, thank you.
Contractually obligated. No, I don't think he would be able to.
I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can appear on the air with us, but he might. I don't know. I'll tell you something else, KGO listeners, KGO and Exile people. I spoke with somebody last night, not Brett. Who did I speak with?
Pat Thurston.
Yes, it was Pat Thurston. Spoke with her. And, you know, she's on KCBS now, as is Brett. And it was just great to be in touch with Pat. Love Pat. She's terrific. I love Brett, too, you know. I think Brett's worried about, like, will the station let him come over? It's crazy. I understand it, though, you know, when you're worried about, you know, you're seeing stations fold up everywhere. But anyway, we miss him. But that's
hey, it's the last news radio station in the Bay Area. If you lose that job, there's nowhere else. You know.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So but I do want to thank everybody for all the support. You know, we're still on this new platform. We're not in commercial radio anymore, so we don't have an ad sales department. So please donate if you can. We don't have any super stickers. We don't have any super chats. The only way you can reach us is through Patreon or in PayPal. You can get that at themarkthompsonshow.com. Themarkthompsonshow.com.
It's really job security for me that Brett stays away anyway. You know, I don't have to like hog tie him and put him in his basement.
Here is the ingredients of the martini from Lori, who is living above the bar, and she runs the Red Jack. Hetchy Vodka, which is a local company, straight up with 3 olives. Yes, served in that martini glass. It's very oof. It's a nectar of the gods, you know. All right, we're getting a little bit late, but I did want to thank everybody for all their contributions. So thanks, everyone. And let's keep it going.
The Mark Thompson Show.
And now, without any further delay, we've certainly delayed a bit.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
We're looking back at Florida weird. Albert, you'll help me get through this, but one of our favorites was the naked Florida man with the machete accused of trying to steal another man's clothes.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah,
that's
very
not
nice
scary.
job. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Armed with a machete, he allegedly tried to steal another man's clothes. Allegedly does get a ding, by the way. Shortly before 10 in the morning, near the Volusia County Fairgrounds, a surveyor in the area said that the dude is a 34-year-old guy named Brandon Wright.
Just 14, whoever's out with him. He does have a lot of charges in his history of battling and resisting with us.
Yeah.
Looks like they're all en route. No one's on scene.
Yeah, so there are the clothes on the ground next to this parked car.
All right.
And you'll just see his building.
Everyone's got the vehicle.
We're running
I don't
late
see
here
the
in
mail.
Florida, but yeah,
all the doors are open, trunks open. There's all right. Got the
There he
visual
is,
on the
naked
mail. He
man,
is naked,
just
yelling at people
yelling.
in the parking lot. Very animated.
Well, sometimes you got to make your point with a machete and with nakedness. He reportedly threw the machete at another guy, and he finally was handled by deputies.
Deputies who had to grab a naked guy. Like, how do you avoid all the manly bits? You know,
that's
you gotta
definitely
grab him in a specific way.
Yeah, you definitely, and he's got a machete too. I'll remind you. Florida man found with drugs after getting trapped in a porta potty.
Oh.
Yeah, he was stuck inside a porta potty. He had to call for help.
Was he doing the drugs in the porta potty?
Well, unclear. He probably had done the drugs within the prior few hours, I'm guessing. He was heard yelling loudly when deputies arrived. From inside the porta potty, he was yelling loudly. And as the deputy got closer, she could hear the screams, saw a foot sticking out of the bottom of the porta potty. He was really trying to get out of there.
There's your first sign.
They got the man out, identified him as a 34-year-old named James Gauss. And he said that he had gotten his foot stuck in the door. When they opened the bathroom door, they found a baggie with a powdery substance. It tested positive for fentanyl. They also found a syringe. Yeah.
You gotta toss that in like the chute, right? And just claim innocence. Like that wasn't mine.
Yeah, you're right in the toilet. You may as well get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, most people have to run to the bathroom to flush it down the toilet. You're in the toilet right now. Just put it in there and you're done.
The problem with that is if you flush it, it goes away, right? But if it's a porta potty, it's still down there. They can still get it.
They can't prove that it's yours, though. Come on, you got to think like a criminal.
I guess so.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mind is a scary
wild idea, but it just might work.
A Florida woman who's 38 tries to avoid a DUI with an Irish folk dance. This is one of our favorite stories of the year. It happened in April. 38-year-old. Show it to them, Albert, please, if you would. Here she is with her folk dance. She wants to demonstrate that she's not really drunk. So Amy Harrington, 38 years old, she had rear-ended another car, by the way. That's why she was stopped.
Yeah, she doesn't look drunk at all. No.
This is in Madeira Beach, Florida. She showed several signs of inebriation, said the cops. But here she goes with the Irish dance. Not bad. You know what I mean? Really not bad.
She could
like one of those Reno 911
It does feel Reno. You're right. It does feel very Reno.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did watch the extended 9-minute cut of it, and it was really funny watching her attempt to stay on the line and then improvising straight into the dance.
Yeah, that's the thing. She wasn't able to follow the cops' like original, directions for what to do, and so what she did is sort of segued into the dance to like cover the fact that she really was unable to walk the line and do all these other things. So,
Albert, thank you.
Yeah, that was a good one, Albert. A police chase leads to a woman getting arrested, and she said that getting arrested was actually on her bucket list, everybody. Isn't that nice? She said, it's my dream.
True.
Yeah. A deputy in Monroe County spotted this gal at 7:45 in the morning, turned his lights and sirens on, tried to pull her over, but she continued driving, eventually stopped and was taken into custody. She told authorities that she wanted to get arrested. That's why she'd done all of that. It'd been on her bucket list since high school, she said. She was arrested, charged with fleeing and eluding. Seems, by the way, like fleeing and eluding are pretty... See, I'm surprised those are two separate things, but all right. Look, that's a Florida thing. A Florida man. Go ahead, Kim.
Now when you take the Facebook quiz, have you all the things you've never done? You get a point for each. She'll always be able to check that I got arrested.
Yeah, that's
Kim,
right.
how are you?
That's exactly right. I love that. A Florida man accused of stealing a vehicle and then driving to the Space Force base to warn the government. Corey Johnson is his name, 29 years old, from Ocala. He told deputies that he'd taken a Ford F-150 without the owner's permission. So that's you don't want to do that. He had taken it to drive to Patrick Space Force Base. I didn't even know there was a Space Force Base, I have to say. The whole Space Force thing.
Wasn't that what Donald Trump was talking about? Space Force?
He created the Space Force.
Yeah, there's one in San Diego as well.
Is there really?
Thanks, yeah, like they have an office in San Diego as well.
Wow.
Thanks, Tony.
I didn't know that.
Are they looking for any are there any job openings?
I think there's 6 there or something like that.
Oh my God.
Albert, thank you.
This is wild. Anyway, this guy, Corey Johnson, again, he's 29 years old. Brevard County deputies say Johnson tried to get on the base. He claimed to be warning the government about a fight happening between, it is a pretty serious fight, Chinese dragons and U.S. aliens.
Oh.
Yeah. Who do you pick in that fight, Albert? Chinese dragons and U.S. aliens.
This feels like a Godzilla versus King Kong.
Exactly.
I'm going with the Chinese dragons. I don't know what they're cooking over there, so I'm picking the Chinese dragons.
What really are U.S. aliens? I mean, if they're aliens, they're not from the United States, right? They're from outer space. So U.S. aliens doesn't make sense.
Well,
you have to go for Chinese dragons.
No, but they've come to the U.S. from outer space, you see. And they're marshaling their forces to go up against the Chinese dragons. But there's a lot we don't know about the alien powers. So he did say that he was sent by the President of the United States to give the warning. And he heard the President also tell him to steal the vehicle. So all of that.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said. So that was one of our favorite stories as well. A Florida man charged for throwing a hot dog at a St. Petersburg cop. He was arrested on a felony charge after authorities said he threw a hot dog at an officer who was warning him of violating a city ordinance. You know how cops will kind of tell you, hey, that is a closed street,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. And then he got angry that he was being told this by the cop. And so he threw a hot dog at the cop.
What a dummy.
No, he was selling hot dogs, and
he was selling hot dogs.
He wanted to continue selling his hot dogs, and he just decided to take matters with his own hands. So
Yeah, he wasn't allowed. This is his closed street, not allowed to sell, be there. And he was told to move along. And he threatened first the cop with the hot dog. He held it up. He was asked to put the hot dog down, but authorities said he continued to threaten them with it, and then he did throw the hot dog.
a minimum 3 years in jail for him.
Hot dog throwers gotta throw hot dogs.
Well, what do you charged with, like a assault on an officer, even though it was just a hot dog?
Exactly. A naked man wearing a cowboy hat attacks a woman with a machete. This happened in Medley. I think he had the machete, I'm guessing, right? He didn't attack a woman who had a machete. It's written in kind of a weird way. A South Florida man facing 3 felony charges. Cops accused him of attacking a woman with a machete. He didn't have, the reason he attacked her is because she didn't have a crack pipe. Yeah, hey, look, dude needed a crack pipe, okay? According to the arrest report, he was completely naked, wearing nothing, but he did have painted nails and a cowboy hat. And then he attacked the victim at Northwest 74th Street and South River Drive in Medley. Where is that? That,
near the Whole Foods?
Yes, it's near the Whole Foods. Police said the woman was riding her bicycle in the area. By the way, I invited John Daly to join us today for Florida, and I didn't hear back from him. I hope he didn't text me back. Hang on a second. This would be embarrassing.
I think we know how he feels at this point.
No, he didn't text me back. Okay.
Bye-bye, Mark Thompson.
No. Moving on. I'm out of Smallsville, and I'm an IT guy now. Police said the woman was riding her bicycle in the area when this guy asked her for the crack pipe. The attack began after she told him, I don't have a crack pipe. Pretty brutal. Cops took him down, right, Albert? Is there anything else in that story I need to know? Cops arrested him.
And she survived. It was kind of gruesome.
It was pretty gross, right? Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And finally, a Florida man confesses to robbing the Circle K with a police hat.
Not the Circle K.
Yeah, he was bored. He said that's the reason he did it. Just to break the boredom.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Yeah. An Orlando man arrested after being connected to a pair of robberies, according to cops. Detectives said that the guy who is a TD Bank is his name. He robbed TD Bank. Is that what it is, Albert? The Orlando cops first began their investigation when a TD Bank was robbed by a man wearing a hat. And cops said he was wearing a pair of sunglasses too, but he was wearing a police hat. Detectives said the teller told them I see, he really was robbing a bank. I feel like that's an upgrade over the normal Florida,
Yeah, that's a heist. That's not right.
Exactly. Thank you.
There has to be some plan, or at least you think that there would be some planning to that.
Yeah, Albert is right. When you go into a bank, it's not like going into a Circle K or a 7-Eleven. It's a bank, man. I mean, So anyway, he went into the bank. He handed the teller a note with the words "assault" and "money" on it.
Figure it out.
She get right, exactly.
No full sentences here.
Right,
Assault,
exactly.
money.
I'm not going to write the whole note out. Who's got time for that, right?
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
And
Put it together, people.
Then he moved on to Circle K. 2 days later, a Circle K was robbed. This time, a store clerk was handed a note that said, "Give me all the money," and a pack of 305 hundreds, please.
Oh, now we're writing full sentences. Okay.
What are 305's hundreds? Does anybody know?
Is it cigarettes? I don't know.
I feel like of this crew, Albert would be the one who might know, but otherwise, nobody's going to know.
I'd have to check the Mr. Google for that.
Yeah. Anyway, officers responded. They found the suspect, 45-year-old Nicholas Zapateri, in front of the store. And Orlando cops said that he still had the stolen cigarettes and money on him. I guess they're cigarettes then.
I was right.
Yeah. Nice job. Yeah. Cigs. Yeah. Calvin Wong also knew there were cigs. Very well done. Very, very wild. That, my friends, we can end with a real heist. I love that. Bank and Circle K. That, my friends, concludes Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
I would like to share one great little piece of producing work that Albert did. Each one of those stories that you just heard occurred in a different month of the year. So that he was kind of bringing us it was a very well-done sort of crescendo of Florida stories. So very well done. Now, what are we going to do in terms of a favorite? You have to
Albert,
pick a favorite. Pick one in the chat. I'll just remind you of them quickly. All right.
I have a poll here. Irish Dance, Naked Machete Guys. There was two.
Oh, cool.
Hot dog,
okay.
And Trapped in a Porta Potty. Those are your four options for today.
All right. So those are your four options. And please vote on YouTube on the poll. Okay. And then Albert will update us on the poll after Kim's news and before Jim Avila. Jim Avila, we're going to take a little bit late, if it's okay with him, to allow for Kim's news. There has been some breaking news, and so we'll get that going. And hit the poll to let us know your favorite Florida story. Hit the thumbs up button to let us know you like the show, you like Florida. It's been a good year. We have reconstituted the show on YouTube. Yes, they're growing pains, but we're here and we're not going away. It's the Mark Thompson Show.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Use Mark Thompson.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. As you heard Courtney report earlier, there is a break in the case of the murders of 4 Idaho college students. So let's go back to the picture of the suspect. There he is. And NBC reporting a 28-year-old man has been taken into custody in connection to these killings. The suspect apprehended in Pennsylvania and is expected to be extradited. There is set to be a press conference later today about this arrest. Things looking a little bit better for Southwest Airlines today, indeedy do, but FlightAware reports only 43 flights have been canceled by the airline as of 12:30 this afternoon Eastern Time. A statement from the airline said it is eager to return to a state of normalcy Friday with minimal disruptions. The CEO of Southwest saying he just can't ever apologize enough for all of this. It's kind of escalating situation here. The U.S. Air Force aircraft said to have need to take an evasive maneuvers after a close call with a Chinese fighter jet. U.S. military officials said the incident happened during routine operations over the South China Sea last week. The U.S. calls this incident a very concerning trend of intercept practices by China's military. So let's hope things don't even get more and more out of hand with that. This is a sad situation in California where a sheriff is now placing some of the blame for the killing of a deputy on a judge. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said Deputy Isaiah Cordero's killer had an extensive criminal history dating back to the late 1990s. That, he said, should have meant 25 years to life as a sentence, but Bianco says a San Bernardino County judge lowered the man's bail, leading to his release, and that, he says, is what led to this man's death.
That's a very controversial, as you might imagine, and troubling decision on the part of that judge.
Yep.
And many in law enforcement and many in the community are outraged by it. I think rightly so.
Mm-hmm. let's talk airports again, because apparently the TSA is unveiling the most unusual catches at the airport security checkpoints from this year. The top most unusual finds for officials was at LAX, of course, where they discovered fentanyl packages, packaged like brand name candy. The number 2 attempt, stuffing a full handgun into a raw chicken at a Fort Lauderdale airport. I think that we had that every Friday.
It's a wild idea, but it just might work.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Was not to be left uncovered. Twitter is reportedly closing one of its offices in the face of likely eviction, the social media company giving up its Seattle office and allowing its employees there to work from home now. Twitter owes millions of dollars across the world in back rent as the new owner, Elon Musk, has ordered all leases to be renegotiated, and it will not be paying rent until that is done. And a bit of a, I guess you could say, controversy for Orange County Congresswoman Katie Porter, who's denying claims that she fired a staff member for catching COVID. The Democrat accused of firing the staffer for violating office protocols in July. A spokesperson for Porter says the employee did breach COVID protocols in July, but was not fired, rather agreed to leave the job in August. The spokesperson says Porter told the employee work from home during her final 3 weeks on the job so she wouldn't infect others. Leaked screenshots of text messages between Porter and the staffer were apparently posted. Oopsies. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses alike. So if you need help with your taxes, you got to call Steve Moskowitz, 888-TAX-DEAL. You can see it at the bottom of your screen, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shadow Stevens, and this is the greatest radio show in the history of the world. The Mark Thompson Show. It's in all the record books. Look it up.
Who's Mark Thompson?
What up, everybody? It is a great day, the end of the year, and it is a delight to have you all here. Yeah, you can smash the like button and give us a thumbs up. If you're watching in replay, we love having you here in replay especially. You can watch it at your leisure, listen at your leisure, so welcome. And now put it together for a guy who has... Oh, wait a minute, Kim?
A text that's just coming in, a text from John Daly saying, I didn't get a link. See how that works?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I had to know that he was joining us. I wasn't sure. I didn't just send a blind link.
Right.
But next time I will. I mean, I'll have him join us next week. Yeah, John Daly, our dearly, he's moved on to the tech world.
Sayonara, sucker.
Sayonara, sucker. But I do want to mention that he'll join us, I hope, next week. If he's got time, I'll send him a link and he can join us for Florida. We've had a pretty lively Florida. Sorry, Jim. I was about to intro you, and then Kim, and now I've doubled back, and now I'm circling
hijacked
again.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I was going to land the plane, and then Kim did that. Now I'm circling the airport again.
Why are you yelling?
So there is a poll up about the favorite Florida story. Do you want to do that
Yeah,
now?
I just wrapped it up. Here are the results right here.
Okay, here we go. All right, these are the favorite Florida stories. Okay. What was your favorite Florida story? The Irish dance wins with 51%. All right. Naked Machete Guy got 23%. Hot dog, 16%. Trapped in a porta potty, only 8%. 85 of you voted. So well done, all of you who voted.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And now, without any further delay, although we've certainly thrown every delay imaginable at it, here he is with a year's worth of analysis crammed into this Friday segment. He is the former senior correspondent at ABC News, the White House correspondent for years. He's Jim Avila, everybody. Come on. Yeah.
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, sir. Friend of the show, I should say. He has Mark merch.
Yes.
He has Mark merch in a big way. He's always been supportive, and he's even supported in the chat, and he's sent super stickers and super chats. Jim Avila is a real listener and participant. So really cool, Jim Avila. We really do love him.
I'm waiting for you to figure out this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah,
but
the YouTube.
I'll get back to it when that happens.
Yeah, thank you. The YouTube thing will be figured out soon, I hope. We're making progress.
So you're kind of the Southwest Airlines of radio, right? The circling and circling and circling.
Yeah, I don't know if I would quite use that parallel. I feel as though we're a little bit of a cut above that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, I've lost my luggage.
Well, I'm just saying, I think YouTube may be the Southwest Airlines. We still get you to your destination. That's the point. Our planes are still taking off and landing on time. So, the deal with the year's news as we look back, I mean, it had so much. I feel that the J6 committee and their revelations and presentations, they were a big part of this year. And now we're seeing the last bits that they can get out before it all goes away, right? Meaning if they don't, whatever they don't release now, and Benny Thompson, the committee chair, said he was going to release everything, essentially, that he could, that didn't, involve national security. We're in a situation where if they don't release the next couple of days, it's done. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think we have to see it. Maybe today, I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, I've been very supportive of them, except for this end of the year business. They waited too long. Even if they release it today, I don't think many people are paying attention. I mean, it's the week between holidays. It's not a good time to do it. They waited too long to have that last bit of report released. At least the other committee released the taxes today fully. We were able to see that and see what a tax cheat he is and how much money he has and what he was hiding and all those things, and why he didn't want to release the taxes. Clearly, in this year, if we're talking about end of year, the big loser of the year is Donald Trump. January 6th, the committee was detrimental to him, devastating to him. The off-year elections, the midterms were devastating to him. His announcement for re-election of president has been just, it's deafening, the response. I mean, there's nothing there. Nobody's responding. And Republicans are actually bailing on Donald Trump. So while we can't dismiss him totally, and you really can't ever dismiss him because he's a snake and he lives on, he really has become the loser. There's so much losing compared to winning that Donald Trump has to be named the loser of the year.
So there's no question. By the way, I think it worth noting. I mean, I see this in the chat. You guys talk about Trump all the time or whatever. This is a pretty big deal. Well, you have the last president who, in the J6 committee, really lays it out clearly, is involved in an active attempt to overthrow the government and overthrow the election. It was a coup attempt. First through legal means, then through illegal means, violent means. I mean, this is a pretty big deal. Involving white supremacist groups. This is a big deal. I mean, if you're really ready to look the other way on a coup attempt by a president, I think that's a pretty big pill to swallow. So I'm happy we've talked about it, and I'm happy that committee laid out the facts the way they did. I look at the last year and putting that aside for a second, the politics of the midterms that you've just mentioned and that you anticipated, remind everybody that Jim didn't think there'd be a red wave at all. And indeed, you were right. And there still is control of the House by the Republicans. And we're going to hear a lot about Hunter Biden. I think there will be Hunter Biden inquiries and if those inquiries link to Joe Biden or whatever, if there's actually legitimate evidence, as you said before, hey, we want to see it. We want to hear it. But I'm more concerned with the politics of having to work with Congress. When you look at the year that Joe Biden had, he got a big package through Congress. It wasn't the package he wanted. Joe Manchins of the world really did, in a sense, make him take out certain aspects of that big package that, while it remained big, didn't contain some of the things that Biden would have liked to have seen, I presume, or at least that's what he articulated he would like to have seen. A minimum wage comes to mind. Even legalization of pot comes to mind. These various things that, I think were talked about on the stump, even more in the way of alternative energy funds. these are all things that were in essence either turned down in large measure or deleted from the package. I don't mean to focus on the negative, but I'm just saying he got a big package through. I'd like your thoughts about that package again, looking back at the year.
Why would today be any different, Mark?
Jim feels I always focus on the negative, which is probably true. Yeah.
Yes, he could have. You wish he would have done more, could have done more. But considering the 50-50 Senate with +1 with Kamala Harris, there's a big article in the Washington Post in the opinion section today about Biden has a right to say, I told you so. And I kind of am on that side, despite everything that there was there. Compare him to President Obama, who we all love, and our memories are cherished of when he was in office. He didn't get, well, he got the huge health care, and he can live on that for the rest of his life. He got health care passed. But Biden is right up there, if not better than Obama in getting things passed. The Republicans have decided that they're not going to cooperate in any way with Democratic presidents. And they're the party of no. What have they proposed? What have they passed? They had control, they have almost, they had equal setting of in the Senate. They passed nothing. Back when Trump was president, they passed only tax reform that benefited the rich. So when you compare them to past presidents, you have to go back to Clinton really to when there was this much success. And Clinton had control of both houses for a while. And he was able to pass a lot of things, which we kind of regret in some ways, but a Democratic president passed things. But even now, we see that Biden has been able to pass some gun control, not enough. He's attempted to not pass, but sign into law student loan protection. That's still a big battle going on with this in the courts. He passed infrastructure, which Trump every other week was infrastructure week with Donald Trump, and Biden got it passed. Biden and he did really well as the president in power in an off year, getting the elections passed for Democrats, and not as bad as it should have been in anybody's view. So, I think he still believes in some compromise, but he's also turned the page a little bit and gone with a pen and started signing executive orders, which he has to do. I think that my thing about 2023, the most important thing for Democrats to do in my mind is for Democrats to propose comprehensive immigration reform and let the Republicans kill it. Because comprehensive immigration reform is needed. It's cynical of the Republican Party to continue to point to the border when they do nothing in the legislature to fix it. And it can be fixed. There was a comprehensive immigration reform back in 2015, supported by Marco Rubio, supported by Lindsey Graham, supported by John McCain and Jeff Flake, Arizona senator back then. There is a way to do this. And the Tea Party killed it back then. The Republican Tea Party killed it then. And instead, they just bitch and moan about the troubles at the border without really attempting to fix it. The Democrats have to call their bluff.
And that's a great take in that there are no real answers to what's going on at the border. I mean, there is no...
Not under the current legislation, no. But there's a way to do it with legislation.
Well, you would suggest that you could beef up the court system as such that, they have beefed up the court system on some level, but there is just such a clot of those who want asylum. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what the 2015 law did, okay? And all they got to do is resurrect that. It put eight times as many border agents on the border. It increased the number of judges in the immigration courts. That's where the That's where the holdup is.
Sure.
These people for sanctuary come across, they get a little signed ticket that says you'll show up in court. And then they show up in court maybe 8 years later, 5 years later. That's not going to work. And there's not enough judges for that. So that it did that. It also provided a path to citizenship for those already here so that they could work and stay out of trouble. And if they worked and stay out of trouble, they would continue to work. You know, Republicans in the Midwest, farmers, meat packers, all those folks want more immigration, but they can't get it because the system is so overwrought. So the Democrats just need to call their bluff, propose almost the same thing that the Gang of Eight supported back in 2015, and then, you know, tell them to shut up, the Republicans. Either, you know, come up, give me some ideas. What do you want to do? I'm ready to compromise. And they won't do it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, this is a real political strategy that might work. The notion somehow that you could, and the border situation is a crisis. There is, Title 42 has now been defended by SCOTUS, and that decision was, we talked about it yesterday with David Katz, controversial, but in a sense, there are probably members of the Biden administration who are glad that Title 42 was essentially defended by the SCOTUS because it turns down the flame of illegal immigration. That said, you need a real solution. And the notion that you could bring that up and then, vote it down, Republicans, and you're right, the political climate is different than it was when Joe Biden was coming up. That if there's anything I would say, and I love that you touched on this, Jim, in these last few remarks, he's coming around, you said, to the fact that he's going to have to use the pen and he's going to have to, get things done in other ways, because the idea somehow that you're going to be able to compromise with this GOP, no way. I mean, even Kevin McCarthy, who I think, I'm sorry, and then I'll shut up and stop making my speech. But even Kevin McCarthy, who's a guy who I think is just loathsome, his enabling of Trump, but his enabling of all things bad, and essentially just using all the political talking points without any real plans for legislation moving forward. He is a moderate compared to some of the other Republicans who are now taking hold of the GOP. That's a party that really is becoming more and more extreme.
Yeah, it's the old Tea Party, and now they're in control. And I think Joe Biden has turned the corner. He's still open to compromise, but he realizes now if it's not going to happen, he's going to have to go. I love Dark Biden. This whole thing where he has, the social media people have done a great job on really poking holes in the Republican Party, showing their cynicism and their duplicity. And, he's really taken that on in the last since going up to the midterms. And I think he'll continue with that. Will they have a little more room in the Senate now, and they have no room in the House. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. We all love the way Nancy Pelosi was able to hold on to things, and now she's gone. But Chuck Schumer, despite those damn half glasses, he's done a pretty good job too. And I think that he will be able to get some things through. Enough, probably not to our liking, and it's going to be until 2024 before we get a chance to win both the House and the Senate.
I just lament the state of American politics because you really don't get anything done. This is a frozen legislature with Congress divided, as you said, and so you get a lot of, I think, a redefining of the culture and a lot of lawmaking through the courts. And the courts are controlled now by extremists who don't really reflect the texture of the country any longer. That was the sad fact of the last administration and what happened with that election, in my view.
Right. You didn't like Hillary Clinton? She wasn't a good personality? Okay, here's what you got. If Hillary Clinton would have won, if people would have come out who just didn't like her enough or whining about whatever, you got what you voted for, folks. You voted for Donald Trump, and that's his legacy is the courts. I do have to say that recently, even the Supreme Court has turned against Donald Trump on some very important matters, including his taxes, which they allowed to be released, despite the fact that they're a conservative court. Have they been incredibly detrimental in social issues like abortion, number one? But they also helped the Democrats by doing that. They helped the Democrats and woke up the progressive voting machine to prevent a disaster in the midterm. So it kind of backfired on them. Alito has, revealed himself as worse than Scalia, and is a real problem. Justice Thomas should be impeached. I don't, there's no doubt about that. He's voting on issues that his wife is very involved in, as far as the January 6th. It's just amazing that there's no repercussions there. And what John Roberts is doing is destroying the court with that kind of politics in the court. It's not right.
So I'm so glad you mentioned the Clarence Thomas situation, the guy who should recuse himself, a guy who is corrupt to the core, and you just can't impeach him without 2/3 of Congress. I believe you need. I'm pretty sure you need to. And again, that goes back to the congressional divide, But so we're left with a completely corrupt justice. And you're also then left with these conservative justices who are radical. Then they're determined to overreach, as we've already seen. As you suggested, the overturn of Roe, and they have other big plans. And remember, they're insanely corporate friendly. So it's one thing to be business friendly. They are blindly supportive of corporations, to the point that those of us who are consumers and who do take on corporate malfeasance don't stand a chance in appeals to the Supreme Court. Hey, Jim Avila, I so appreciate.
Yeah, Mark, don't forget, corporations are people.
That's right.
That's what the justices had determined.
That's what the justices
have a little more
said.
Empathy for corporations.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's just lunacy. It really is lunacy. Yeah. We look at the mullahs in Iran, or we look at these extreme religious crazies that run these countries in Afghanistan. We've got our own version. They wear black robes, and they're called the Supreme Court. We give them the name Supreme to, somehow engender some respect. But the reality is it's just as radical and crazy, I think, now in that right wing of the court. Love talking to you, Jim. Thanks for all the support of the show. I have such respect for your takes, and the audience loves you as well, as they should. Appreciate everything. Thank you. Jim
Thanks,
Avila,
everybody. Have a happy New Year.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Put it together for Steve Moskowitz, everyone. What is up, Steve?
Hi, Mark. I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of being part of your show. You came in and you jumped into this show instantly, and it is such a tremendous show. And I've talked with my friends that have listened to you and some other media people. Everybody just says kudos. So I want to add mine. I'm so proud to be part of it. And you're doing such a service for the audience. So many of my clients say that, you become their friend. They listen to you every day. It's such a big deal. And I'm watching you grow. I'm so happy and proud to be part of it. And 2023, I wish you a blockbuster year, that you get the recognition that you so sorely deserve.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, Steve. And, we've put together a lot in a short time, and we're evolving the show and learning. And there's a bunch of things related to YouTube and related to this platform that we're learning every day. But even the show from a content standpoint, which has always been my concentration, I worry about content. I worry about segments. I worry about topics. I worry about the way things are, sound, etc. Even that is evolving, on this new platform. So thank you so much for recognizing it and for mentioning it. And it means a lot to have your support and to have your endorsement. I mean, your personal endorsement about the quality of the show. Thank you. And this is our last visit with you in this year, and then we'll look ahead to the new year. When it comes to taxes and it comes to building a business, there's also a lot to know. I mean, it really is it's a hornet's nest unless you have some professional help to lead the way for you, I think.
That's true. And besides, everybody knows me for taxes. But besides taxes, we perform so many other business services. And of course, taxes are important. And of course, we want to save you every penny in taxes. But besides that, part of the service is we help you grow your business. We help you become more profitable. And there's so many ways to do that. And what I do is in our firm, we're in different departments, and this department will help you with this, and this department will help you with that. And again, it's not just about taxes. There's a lot more to us than that. We're here to do what we call success planning. We want to see all of our clients become successful, grow, and we want to be part of helping them.
When you're setting up a small business, we talked about the S Corp and C Corp thing the last time. I think we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, I got so excited.
I did too, because I learned something in that conversation. Is that the big fork in the road, or there are just probably a lot of forks in the road, huh?
There's a lot of things. And what happens is with the corporations, the thing that's important is limited liability. We want to see everybody successful and prosper. But just like buying insurance, insurance is something that you buy, you hope you never use. You hope you never crash your car. You hope your house never burns down. But you have insurance in case it does. And basically one of the reasons you have a corporation is for something called limited liability. If things go wrong, all that you lose is what's in the corporation, but your personal assets are safe. And of course, if you're married here in a community property state, unless you have a prenup, you also have to protect your spouse, not to mention your family, not to mention maybe you borrowed from relatives, not to mention maybe you have some kids to feed and take care of. So that's just one of the things. It's we talk about the S and the C for tax, but the reason you become a corporation to begin with is to protect your assets. And there's so many things there, whether it's helping somebody negotiate their lease. For example, with a lease, suppose you start a business and you say, well, if I sign a 2-year lease and then my business becomes very prosperous and the landlord says, well, I'm going to raise your rent through the roof and you're not going to want to move, that's a problem. So should you get a 30-year lease? Well, on the other hand, the 30 years is a mighty long time if things aren't working out. So there may be something simple, like you say, you do a 2-year lease with 10 or 15 options to renew for 2 years at a time. That's simple, but most business people, they concentrate on what they know about. They bake tremendous cherry pies. They don't know from a lease. They don't have to. I don't know how to bake a cherry pie. That's why we all do our things. And there's just so much we can do that people don't think about it. And a lot of times when you don't think about it, you don't think about it until it's too late. You don't want to hear from some other lawyer, oh, too bad you did it that way, or too bad you didn't do this or that. That's why we're here to help in so many different aspects of somebody's business.
I'll tell you something, just to bring it home. It's a sad fact, but I wish I'd had advice about how to deal with YouTube at the very beginning when we were setting up, because they take you through a certain series of steps, and if you misstep, if you follow their steps, you end up where we are now. You have to know not to take a certain step that they tell you to take in order to be free and clear. So I think the expert advice that comes through your office when it comes to business, when it comes to taxes, is something we can all take advantage of. Reach Steve at 888-TAX-DEAL, 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 also online, MoskowitzLLP.com, MOSKOWITZ, MoskowitzLLP.com. So proud to have you in the mix as our sponsor. And Steve, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. My last legal advice for the year to your audience is have a dynamite and safe New Year's Eve and a wonderful, happy, healthy, and prosperous 2023.
Steve Moskowitz, everybody. Come on now. Yeah, right on, right on. Love it.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Use Mark Thompson.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We need to make a decision here, everyone. So let's bring in all of the big decision people. Albert, you're a big decision person. Kim, you're a big decision person. Tony, you're a big decision.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I do see cryable numbers, and I want to acknowledge them. We also have Michael Schneider waiting. what would you like to do, Kim McAllister, who has worked diligently on news? You want to turbo news it here?
Yeah, I'll just. How about if I just read the first sentence of every news story?
Kim, how are you?
You know, we'll
Are
just
you just
slam right through those bad boys. No,
now? Are
let's
you
headline it.
Do I
I'll
sense
do it live.
Is there sense hostility in you right now?
No, there
over
actually
this?
isn't.
All
It's
right.
totally fine. If you'd like to skip news, that's fine. But I do have a couple stories that are fresh.
All right,
fresh-
Albert,
fresh
you
for the
will,
taking.
because you're the producer who's stepped into the role quite admirably, I think. I wonder if you could tell me what I should do right now.
Albert, thank you.
We should probably just turbo news, get to Michael, and then we'll do a special bundle of things for the patrons.
Is that
towards
okay
the
with
end
you,
of the show.
Tony, that we do it that way? Turbo news
Let's do that.
to Michael and then bundle of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, that's the way we're going to do it. All right. Smash the like button like a boss.
With your iron rod.
And we will take a turbo news break, and then we come back with a Michael Schneider. The great Michael Schneider has given us another year of great reviews. We'll do that next. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I'm Kim McAllister on the Mark Thompson Show. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL. All right, you asked for turbo news, and here it comes.
Oh, no.
Rain, blah, blah, blah. More
Oh,
expected
don't do
today.
that. Don't do that. Don't
Into
hose
the
it
evening,
down. Don't hose it down.
Flooding concerns through Saturday before moving out. More rain expected early next week. Yes, indeed, that is the case. President Biden pardoning 6 people who already served their time for crimes. The pardons announced today include 5 people convicted of minor drug or alcohol-related offenses and a woman who killed her abusive husband in the 1970s. It's the 3rd time this year the president has used his clemency power. So that is happening. Oh, Ginny Thomas, here she is, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and now says she regretted her post-2020 election texts and statements warning that Democrats tried to steal the election. That's according to a transcript of an interview that Virginia Thomas participated in with the White House committee investigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol.
That's
Thomas,
a revelation. Yeah.
It is, indeed. Thomas exchanged emails and text messages with Trump allies, including then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, about efforts to reverse the results of the 2020 presidential election. Thomas, in the interview, denied discussing any of the post-2020 election cases with her husband. She said the two have an ironclad rule not to talk about pending cases in the court. Here's another new one. Yeah, right. I didn't know if you'd heard this, but big rigs and buses manufactured before 2010 will not be allowed to operate on California roadways starting January 1st.
What?
It's the final rule set in a set of clean air regulations that the California Air Resources Board passed 15 years ago. The Air Resources Board has said 2010 and newer engines do a better job filtering out harmful particulates. So there you go. Get those old big rigs out the way. Fireworks, Seaside in the Monterey County area. Interesting tactic they're taking, offering $50 gift cards to anyone who reports illegal firework vendors. No aerial fireworks are allowed in the city. Anyone caught lighting aerial fireworks will be fined $1,000. And now, if you narc on people that are doing it, you get a $50 gift card. So
and I
there
say
you have
right
it.
on, right on. It's fireworks are dangerous. The fireworks do what? The first word of fireworks is fire. And
right.
ruin the air. It's a fire hazard. I say right on, Monterey.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah, Union City, take notes, please. Union
Yes.
City.
Yeah.
There's a Seattle-based plastic surgery clinic accused of threatening patients to falsely inflate online ratings. There's a lawsuit filed by the Washington State against Allure Aesthetic, accusing them of requiring patients to sign unlawful non-disclosure agreements, restricting them from posting truthful reviews about their experience. Don't you think if they made you sign that going in, you might think, maybe no, don't tell the truth. What are you talking about? And this is the lastly interesting story. Vinyl album sales are setting a new modern era record. Sales tracking group Luminate reports a little more than 2.2 million vinyl albums were sold in the week ending December 22nd, the highest single week sales total since the group started electronically tracking music sales in 1991. It's also just second time since then that vinyl sales have gone over the 2 million mark since 1991. So vinyl making a big old comeback.
Wow, I just have never understood that, but I want to ask Michael Schneider about that. He's a audiophile too. I just remember. Anyway, yeah, that's a wild story. Every time I say I like CDs more, people who are real audiophiles go, no, the CDs ruin they compress the. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has been putting his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, and really, who doesn't? It's 888-TAX-DEAL. It's MoskowitzLLP.com, and everything gets all better. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah, I'm so excited to bring this guy in because he's been very patient, and we will acknowledge many of you who have been so supportive. We'll do that after this guy comes. He does come and go on a rainbow. Michael Schneider, everybody. How about it for Michael Schneider? What's up, Michael Schneider?
I may not be Michael Shore, but I am sure Michael. Anyway, I'm still
well.
chilling.
Happy New Year, my friend. This is your last big. Are you you're a vinyl record guy, aren't you?
I have had in my purview over 15,000 vinyl discs. I had to winnow them down for reasons I will not get into, but I still have a couple thousand. And yes, the sound on a good turntable with a clean and sparkly maintained vinyl record is superior to that of a CD, but I find the convenience of CDs and the increasingly superior sound range quite satisfying. And let's be frank, I'll even listen to stuff on YouTube, good old YouTube.
Yeah.
So
no, me too. Yeah, no, you. Yeah, exactly. Purview is a ding word, by the way. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not a stickler. I'm still chilling at my holiday chalet. And yes, Happy New Year to you, Marky T, to Kim, Albert, and Tony, and especially to the thoughtful, devoted, and generous folks in the Mark Thompson Show audience. May you never get too old to forget the Lang Syne, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, let's get down to some movie reviews, shall we?
Let's get down. What about this Tom Hanks movie? I love Tom Hanks.
Well, back in 2015, a Swedish dramedy with the title A Man Called Ove was released. It was based on a best-selling novel about an unapologetically misanthropic old man making life miserable for all of his neighbors on a block of modest homes. The immigrants who move in across from the Grouch earn his ire in particular, and the interactions between that family and the elderly bastard are at the heart of the story, bringing kind of comedy and darker revelations that ground the whole enterprise, which becomes genuinely moving despite the comedic aspects. I mean, I guess it was inevitable that an English language remake would have to happen. I just didn't expect it to star Tom Hanks as the old man named Otto here rather than Ove. Okay, so it's been a while since I saw A Man Called Ove, but A Man Called Otto, directed by the veteran Mark Forster, seemed like one of those copies of a copy that lose resolution on a Xerox machine that needs servicing. I mean, it's not bad, mind you. And Hanks is pretty good playing against his nice guy type. And this is certainly leagues better than his lazy Mario meets Chef Boyardee take on Geppetto in Disney's remake of their own version of Pinocchio earlier this year. Mariana Trevino, as the pregnant Hispanic wife and mother living across the way from Otto's house, delivers a solid, likable turn. My only question is, why make this when it's not going to be as pungent as the Swedish version? And I got one more question. If you can read and understand English subtitles, why don't you seek out A Man Called Ove and watch that instead of A Man Called Otto? A Man Called Otto is in select New York and Los Angeles theaters today. We have a number of LA listeners. It's opening wide on January 13th.
Okay, so a meh on that. All right.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, how about moving on to one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh, by the way,
that's on-
pungent. Thank you. Pungent is a ding word. Yeah, go ahead.
Of course, we have to do that. Anyway, this movie is on my best of 2022 list, which will be available in the January issue of the Marina Times at newsstands over the next couple days and available online at marinatimes.com. This film is called Broker, and it's the latest from the exceptional Japanese director Hirokazu Koreeda. This guy has made a string of brilliant and sometimes tear-jerking movies about families lost and found, with particular attention to the tenuous relationships between children and adults. Two of his prior efforts, 2004's Nobody Knows and 2018's Shoplifters, are among the most shattering on-screen experiences in memory. Okay, set in South Korea, not Japan, Broker is a drama about a pair of scam artists selling orphaned or unwanted babies to desperate parents who are incapable of having kids of their own or want to get around the bureaucratic tangle of legal adoption. Meanwhile, frustrated police detectives are trying to nail the sometimes cunning and sometimes heedless baby brokers. So there are moments of whimsy, mostly thanks to the children, whose guilelessness is as charming as it is heartbreaking. And as you'd suspect, there are deeply troubling aspects to the situation, as well as tension. Broker finds Koreeda delivering another poignant winner. Oh, such a terrific film. It's in select theaters this weekend.
The films that guy does are amazing. I saw Shoplifters, and it was really powerful. Yeah,
and orphaned babies. That that kind of, you grab me right there.
I'm telling you, flat out, Nobody Knows. At the end of Nobody Knows, I get choked up at films occasionally. I had a couple tears rolling down my cheeks from Nobody Knows, released in 2004, and. Again, yes, it's in Japanese with subtitles. This is largely in Korean with subtitles. I don't care. This is one of the best films of 2022, and this guy Koreeda is a master. Speaking of,
wait, I will ding tenuous, please, and I will ding guilelessness. That will come on. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I will ding
colorful.
poignant. Don't interrupt me when I'm dinging you. How dare you? On the last show of the year. Poignant is a ding word too, please. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Sort of more colorful vocabulary. I'm doing my part.
Why are you yelling?
Okay, all right.
Speaking of directors that I am, a fan of, Noah Baumbach. I count myself as a fan of his movies. He's a very droll and iconoclastic screenwriter-director, but he didn't knock me out with White Noise. I mean, I loved his 2019 drama Marriage Story, which co-starred Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson as a couple on the rocks. It was nominated for a Best Picture Academy Award, and actually it choked me up, not as much as Nobody Knows, but it did choke me up. And I thought that Baumbach's first Oscar-nominated movie in 2005, The Squid and the Whale, was a revelation, but I was not as enamored of White Noise, even if Baumbach is reunited with Driver as his male lead and brings in Greta Gerwig, who is the filmmaker's partner and frequent collaborator, as his female lead. I expect it wasn't an easy task to adapt Don DeLillo's acclaimed stream of consciousness novel about a feckless college professor, his fragile wife, and his blended family, whose small town in the heartland is impacted by a nearby industrial accident. I mean, we're introduced to faculty members, their rivalries and hierarchies on campus. Driver's Jack Gladney character, get ready, he's a professor of Hitler studies, which wasn't particularly funny in this context. And I like a good Hitler joke. Everybody likes a good Hitler joke. His colleague, played by Don Cheadle, teaches a course about Elvis Presley and likens the appeal of Elvis to Adolf. Jack's family.
There's never been anything like this.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. Yeah.
The laughter that you're emitting was more than I, laughed in the entire movie. Anyway, so Jack's family seems to be imploding, and then things get crazier as an airborne toxic event heads for the town. Although the movie is set in 1984, the peril seems quite topical in a world that's still being assaulted by mutating viruses. For all the frenzy that eventually erupts, White Noise all too often seemed as dry as a pedantic lecture by some droning academic. The attempts at humor.
Wow.
The attempts at humor were clumsy. Even absurd moments felt flat instead of bracing. On the other hand, there is a new song by LCD Sound System that runs over the end credits, and it is a banger. In fact, I thought it was the best and most exciting thing about Baumbach's White Noise. White Noise was in theaters for a bit, and now it's on Netflix. You can check it out for your own self if you have a subscription.
Maybe you can just fast forward to the end to hit the music.
Yeah, it sounds like not worth necessarily checking out. Droll, I will ding. Iconoclastic, I'll ding. Enamored, I'll ding. I'll ding feckless. And I will ding pedantic. You're finishing strong. Pedantic is a clean ding word. Come on. Okay, moving on. Let's go.
I love this filmmaker, so I'm a little disappointed. Okay, there have been various live-action versions of Matilda, the well-loved book about an abused little girl with extraordinary intellect who was sent to an oppressive school run by a vindictive headmistress. In case you don't know, the novel Matilda was written by the mordantly witty author Roald Dahl, best known for giving the world Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But Matilda has great charm as well. I liked the 1996 Matilda movie, which was directed by Danny DeVito and featured him and his wife Rhea Perlman as Matilda's nasty parents. And Mara Wilson in that version was an endearing Matilda. But the new version has delights of its own. It's called, by the way, Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. Yeah, it's a movie musical adapting the successful production from the West End Theatrical District, which is London's Broadway. The songs written by Tim Minchin mix pop with wordplay that has kind of a British music hall operetta flair. And the cast is just super, starting with the wee wise behind her eyes and wise beyond her years, Alicia Ware as Matilda, and continuing with the always awesome Stephen Graham, who played Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire, and Andrea Riseborough as Matilda's loutish, materialistic parents, Lashana Lynch from No Time to Die as the kid's only caring, supportive teacher, and most memorably, Emma Thompson as the cruel, eminently hissable school headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, a grotesque villainess for the ages. As the book-loving, sharp-witted, yet sensitive Matilda fights to truly be her own person and fit in with her peers, she finds herself in a position she never expected, and that's at the heart of the movie. Matilda the Musical was written by Dennis Kelly from his script for the stage version and of course, adapted from Dahl's book, and directed by Matthew Warchus. It is thoroughly in the macabre spirit of the source material, and it's really great stuff for a family to watch together, which you can do on Netflix, although it did have a theatrical run. Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical.
Wow, very nice. You'd really like that.
My kids were in that play last summer, and they were in 2 age groups, so there were 2 separate plays. I had to see it no less than 15 times. If I never see Matilda again, it'll be too soon.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely.
No.
But Kim, was there singing? Was there dancing?
There was singing. There was dancing.
Her kids are good with the singing. The singing is something that really goes well in the McAllister family. By the way, mordantly is a ding word. Thank you very much.
Right.
Look, we're down to our last few seconds with you, Michael Schneider.
Let me squeeze one more in really quickly.
All right, real quick, please.
Okay, The Pale Blue Eye is a chilly but engrossing murder mystery with a literary historical twist. The setting is wintertime of 1830 at West Point. Chilly indeed. A cadet is found dead in the nearby woods, and after the corpse is brought to the academy, the in-house doc discovers the victim's heart has been cut out of the body. So the academy commander doesn't want this to have any blowback in Washington, so he enlists a hard-drinking retired cop to find the truth of what happened. And the boozed-up detective, Augustus Landor, who has lost his wife and daughter, is fantastic. A fantastic character played by Christian Bale, always a reliable choice for the role of a tormented loner. But this guy Landor gets a de facto assistant in a young cadet and fledgling poet, Edgar Allan Poe. That Poe, played by an appropriately creepy Harry Melling. And so this is not based on a true story, even though Poe was a real person. It's based on a novel called The Pale Blue Eye. And I really, they go on there, attempt to solve the crime, and danger and more death bedevil them. Moody and engrossing, terrific supporting cast, including Gillian Anderson, Charlotte Gainsbourg, and holy Corleone, Robert Duvall, even though they only get brief screen time. The director, Scott Cooper, who also wrote the script, did Crazy Heart, Antlers, Black Mass, and Hostels. This is not as good as any of them, but as moody, gloomy B-movie thrillers go, pretty good to watch at home for a couple hours on a cold winter night. And yes, The Pale Blue Eye is on Netflix.
Oh, Courtney might like that one.
Yeah, I think that is one that I could sit through too. I don't do well sometimes with the murder, and definitely, Anyway, the Pale Blue Eye, though, that does seem like something I could do on Netflix. Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical is good for the whole family, unless you've seen it 15 times or 50 times, the way Kim
hit
has.
my Matilda limit. Nope.
That you can see on Netflix as well. Is that right, Michael Schneider?
Absolutely. And a third on Netflix coming right up here, right? White Noise.
White Noise. White Noise, though, you did not like that much. You felt
it disappointed me.
More noise than white, or more white than noise, whatever.
Not
you
enough.
Just felt it. Not enough white, not enough noise, or whatever.
It's not enough.
Broker is the powerful film that you did like from the Japanese filmmaker. And you can see it with it's in Korean with subtitles, but it's another brilliant film from, I don't know how to say his name, but Correda. And A Man Called Otto, the Tom Hanks film. Michael says, see the original. This one is meh. Not awful, but it's in the meh category. He also reminds you that his best of 2022 can be seen in the Marina Times. Read Michael's best of 2022. If we have time, maybe next week, we'll do a little added content with you about your best of. I'd like to do that. It's sort of intriguing, we're kind of out of time now.
It's a slow week for new movies, so it would be a great week to cover a reflection of the previous year. So,
well, it would be fun.
You're down to 5% battery.
I know. I'm wrapping him up. Okay, I don't need to. All right. So, Michael, we adore you, and we love that you're here every Friday. Thank you.
Happy
really
New
great
Year.
takes. Yeah.
Happy New Year again to everybody. Go Niners. Super excited about my team this coming Sunday.
Come on. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael. Woohoo. Yeah. Good stuff. All right.
That's a good movie review.
He got a lot in there in a short time. We only have a couple of minutes left, so let's get to it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Everybody, we are winding down the year, and it has been a year of adversity. It has been a year of challenges. It has been a year of, might I say, of great comfort that you guys have provided us. The community that's built around this show is really exciting, and I never had any idea that we would do that. The idea was to... honestly, the idea was to keep the show going in some way, to keep everybody who was part of the show, to keep their lives going as best we could in our own way, and also to have a platform where we could do what we were doing on KGO. And so that's what we have done. And we're learning and we're evolving, and the show will evolve even more in the new year. But the important thing, and what I'm leading up to also, is that we want to acknowledge so many of you who have made contributions. So at the end of the show, everybody who's made a contribution on Patreon or through PayPal, you'll all be acknowledged there in the credits. And many of you, because we're in a YouTube free fall right now, this show is not monetized on YouTube. We have no money coming in from YouTube, and it's really tough. We hope to get past this, but it might be another few weeks. We need you to make contributions, and you have. And I want to acknowledge a few of them now. Tony, Maestro, wow. Calvin. Wow. $200. Man. Calvin.
Big shout out.
A big shout out. I'm not gonna cry. But I'm saying that's way past the cry number.
Thank you, Calvin.
And Calvin sends me so many stories that he should be listed as an associate producer on this show. If it's the same Calvin, he's amazing. So I appreciate all the content. All of you who want to send us stuff, send it to themarkthompsonshow.com. No, the Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com.
There you
the
go.
Mark Thompson Show comes where you make a contribution. Michael A., $100. Come on, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can I give him a...
Thank you so much.
I like a British thank you so much for Michael A. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you a Will Smith thank you so much. Joan H., $100. Love the spelling, Jone. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation right. I'm going to give you $100. I'm going to give you a thank you. Yeah. Kasuke? Is that how you say it?
I would, yeah.
Okay. Kasuke W, $50. Come on, Kasuke.
Thank you.
Shout out to Kasuke. Geraldine. Look at the spelling. I love these names. Yeah. $50 from Geraldine J. That's shout out.
Thank you so much.
Give me a big Dan Ashley shout out.
Big shout out.
Lydia, you get a shout out
big
for $50. Out. Come on.
What's up, Lydia?
Sheila G, you get a shout out.
Big shout out.
Love that. Karen Q, you're such a supporter, Karen Q. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you
thank you so much.
A British thank you so much. And
big shout out.
A big shout out. James H for $50. Wow. James H, big shout out.
Big shout out.
Happy New Year, you guys. Thank you so much.
So great. I want to give you all together a thank you. I can't tell you the difference it makes. It literally keeps this show going. When you step up like that, it literally allows us to push money to all the people who make this show go. So thank you. Not to mention the expenses associated with the show. So appreciate it. You've given us a life on this platform, and we will honor that a faith you put in us by doing these shows every day. And in that spirit, we'll be on the air. When a lot of shows are off the air on Monday, we will be on the air. Live show, 10 to noon, right here. So thank you so much. Wow. Anybody else who wants to step up, please do. You can at themarkthompsonshow.com. themarkthompsonshow.com. Oh, no. Next week, Shadow Stevens comes in. Jefferson Graham is back. David Katz, David K. Johnston, Jim Avila, all the regulars next week. We've got some Washington Post and New York Times people pushing through as well. TG, thank you. Thank you, Mark and crew. We appreciate you for all you do on a shoestring budget. Happy New Year, Albert, Mark, Kim, and Tony. Wash hands, elbow cough. Is Nikki doing a show today or not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Nikki is next over on the Nikki Maduro channel. Check it out.
Thank you.
Everybody, Happy New Year.
Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Have a happy New Year. Bye. Thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Till next year. Bye-bye.